Hey there, Megan Jansen here with Employee Wellness Solutions Network. I'm still on a year-long mission to talk to as many influencers as I can in the field of health and employee health and corporate wellness. I've tracked down Phil Smeltzer. Phil, you are in South Carolina. You are board of directors for the International Association for Worksite Health Promotion, and thanks for taking a few minutes out of your busy day to talk to me.
Oh, my pleasure, Megan. Always interested in talking about worksite health promotion. So thank you for this opportunity. Very exciting.
I love it. We get to see each other at least once a year at the annual summit, so it's nice to connect again over this particular media, so we can have a discussion. You've been in this industry a long time. You're pretty passionate about worksite health promotion and programming for workplaces. What is your opinion on the whole leadership support? So we've got the C-suite executive support. We are supposed to get middle manager support, frontline folks. What are your thoughts on what's the key roles these frontline managers need to take?
Oh, great question. So I really think that we missed the mark in the way that a lot of our worksite health promotion leaders, how we attack this leadership engagement issue. We all know that we have to get the senior leadership, that C-suite engagement and support. But if we stop there, I think we're doomed to failure. The programs that I've evaluated and the programs that I've seen be the most successful are the ones that have frontline leader support. And this really, it's backed up with the evidence-based and the research in organizational dynamics. And employees work with their manager, and if they trust their manager, they feel better and they're more satisfied with the company. And that is a factor in engagement in worksite health promotion activities. So if we as the worksite health promotion leaders don't engage those front leaders and get them to actively promote the programs and the employee engagement, we're going to fall short. And we have the evidence to support that in this organizational dynamics venue or body of knowledge. And once again, we have not applied other industry best practices to our health environment. And I think we have a lesson to learn. And I really think we're missing the mark if we don't emphasize more and more these frontline leaders once we get the guys and gals at the top level to just not touch us. Just keep your hands off. We'll take it from here, and then go after those frontline managers.
Why do you think it's so challenging to get that level of support, do you feel?
They don't care. Nobody in their upstream management says, hey, make sure in addition to the manufacturing line or the sales quota or the patient count or your call activity today, that your employees are healthy. Mm-hmm. Nobody ever says that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've worked in the healthcare industry right now. Nobody here says that. Mm-hmm. Nobody says, oh, make sure the patients are discharged today and make sure your nurses are healthy today. They don't care. Yeah. I mean, they should care. We know the benefits of that, but that's not being emphasized. And that's where you need that senior leader to understand that culture and that concept and to create that climate. But we have to engage the frontline leaders and get them convinced that this will help their productivity, their mission, their success with their employees. And we typically don't do that at all. Or when we do it, we aren't very good at it. Mm-hmm. And I think we're missing a tremendous opportunity. But we have to persuade them, sell them, whatever label you want to put on that. We have to get better engagement with them, supporting our mission of improved health and productivity of that workforce.
Awesome. I think you do lots of work with wellness champions and wellness champion networks. I think that inclusion of those frontline managers is another great avenue for them to be involved, and to try to attempt at least to get that conversation going. Do you agree?
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. I think this marketing of health promotion. I mean, the word promotions in a lot of our titles, yeah. It's about marketing. And I think we have to take a guerrilla marketing type of approach as opposed to the traditional legacy. Let's send a newsletter out to all employees and post it on the internet and then sit back and watch the participation and enrollment count click mm-hmm. up. Yeah, we know that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. Digital health is something that is becoming more and more popular. How do you find it fitting within the landscape of what we're trying to accomplish as health promoters?
when I've conducted focus groups or market research with employees, it somewhat varies by generation, as you would expect. Millennials, younger employees are more likely to want to have an app or a phone or go online. They don't want somebody to tell them what to do. They want to do the research. They want to Google it themselves. If we aren't providing our interventions in the same media channel that's their preference, it's we're going to miss that whole group.
Mm-hmm.
And that group, that demographic, has its own sets of challenges anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And now if we ignore their primary channel of communication, but we've never really been faced with any demographic, any age group that's that preferential for a mode of communications. People born in the 60s and 70s didn't absolutely just want to be talked to on the phone.
That's true.
Employees enjoyed group sessions and telephone and other methods and media, some print. But this group of younger adults, workers, that's what they want. And if we don't design our programs in a digital health, mHealth app type of delivery channel, I not only do I think we've missed the mark, I think we're doomed to failure.
Mm. I think it's important to also identify that what the demographic is within an organization, let's say, and recognize that the digital health piece might have a role in the overall promotion of what you're trying to do. But I also feel that multiple ways of touch points is important. So I still think that value of being on site and actually with people is such an important part. It could certainly be in addition to, but I think that's an important part too, is to keep the human connection there, if at all possible.
Right. Mega trend that I had heard labeled years ago, which I think is really coming true. And, it's high tech, high touch.
Yes.
You have to have both for success.
Yeah.
And that sort of, to your point, Megan, I like the look at an over 65 population, a classic retiree population. The fastest growing segment of smartphone and internet use is the over 65.
Yeah.
So to your point, we can't just say this is only for millennials, and we can't also have the digital health and the interactive type of channels for over 65 in our retirees. That's because right. They're picking it up faster than anybody now. Some of that's numeracy because they were the smallest segment and lowest prevalence use, but irregardless, we have to have all channels for everybody as much as possible. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Return on investment is, I don't know if we're getting that as often in terms of tell me what the ROI is going to be on health and wellness. And I think that you probably concur. But trying to sell ROI, is that setting us up for failure?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think as an industry, we made a terrible mistake back in the 80s. Started it in the 80s, and we continued it for 20 or 30 years, mm-hmm. where we basically set up this premise that if you let us run our programs, we're going to reduce healthcare cost and we'll show you a positive ROI. And it's too dynamic and too complex of an environment to do that in many cases. But where we've done it, where Osmondkowski and Getzel and Musich have done those examinations, and Pelletier and Chapman, they all show the more rigorous the evaluation, the greater the ROI. But that's published in a journal. If we go to a business leader and peg our success on that calculation, I think we're doomed to failure. Yeah. And quite honestly, we shouldn't have to. Mm-hmm. The example I use is, well, now, what's the ROI on drug-eluting stents? We reimburse for those. Mm-hmm. How did that work out? Now, mm-hmm. why did they get to have drug-eluting stents put in the pharmacy formulary when we have to justify whether a walking program is a good thing to do or not? Mm-hmm. That's just not fair, but we have ourselves to blame for some of that. And that's why I think just avoid the ROI. It's the right thing to do. It's about employee engagement, employee health, productivity, all the good stuff.
Yeah.
And if they say it shouldn't have to be an ROI, we should look at it. But any part of a business needs to look at their return on their investment. We shouldn't be any different in worksite health promotion, but strategically, I think we should back off, as you said, from leading with that. Let's not
Mhm.
lead with it. Let's do it, but don't lead with it.
Well, and I also think evaluating what some of the health metrics, health spend, benefit costs, claims, drug classifications look like, and then you're able to sort of track some of those things year to year, to at least look at optimal program design. So you're then able to kind of a method behind the madness pertaining to program design. I think that's also a great conversation to have with these leaders around the why. And tracking and evaluating some of those measures is important, but you're right, to dictate that ROI is going to be X numbers versus X numbers is definitely a bit more challenging with the environment and so many different nuances pertaining to individual engagement, influence, environment, participation, health status, profiling, everything. So it's definitely, I'm glad to hear that you concur with that.
Yeah, just one small point to sort of reinforce that. I think health promotion leaders need to talk to the most senior person they can get their hands on.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say that every single CFO and CEO that I've talked to in my career, and I always ask this question: what are your goals for the program? What do you want out of it? Saving money or healthcare cost, no matter how you phrase that, has never, ever been number one reason.
Mm-hmm.
Never. It's always been one of the three, though. It's
Yeah.
always been top three, but
Yeah.
it's never been number one. So why should we say it's number one for us?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else says that. We're always the ones that lead with that. So, yeah, I think that the experience is clear. Let's not lead with that.
Love it. And value on investments, another terminology that we also are bringing into this discussion too, which we've already dictated. But yeah, I appreciate your insights on that, Phil. As we tie things up, any final thoughts?
I think that this is a very exciting time for our field. Health promotion is broadening. It's now, good heavens, we now have this as part of our environment sustainability conversations on this global evaluation of corporations. So engagement is linked to trust, and the best way to build trust as a manager is to talk about employees' health. That is such an intimate relationship with each other when we talk about health. If we're smart about this, we can ride this wave and stay on top. If we're not, we're going to get overrun, and we're going to be a second-class priority in our organization. So very exciting. Glad to have this chat. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks, Phil. Thanks a million.
Thank you.